Part 77. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 788. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, the second update is here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. In the new house of Chu Xia's family, Lin Baohe and his wife, Chu Xia and Jing Zhe were cleaning the empty room. After letting them in, the Zhang family returned to the east room on the grounds that they were old and needed to go to bed early, saying that they had something to say. God will tell you later. There was no other way, so a few people had to clean up the empty west room by themselves. The two rooms were clean, but there were a lot of things in a mess. Fortunately, they were all insignificant small items, so a few people gave them a little bit. Moved to the corner. Fortunately, they had the foresight to bring a few blankets in the car when they came back, which solved the problem of not being able to get bedding. When building a house in the countryside, the east is the first one. Therefore, the east room and the main room, that is, the living room, are connected together. The Zhang family lives in the east room, so when they close the door, the three rooms on the other side are connected. Can't even get in. This house has been taken back a long time ago. Zhou Mikang has arranged for people to move all the things back. The two rooms on the west side have no bedding. It must be the third one on the east side. The old couple closed the door early on purpose. That is to say, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan have good intentions. To be honest, it is legal for them to kick the Zhang family out now, because the Lin family has bought the house long ago and the deed has been handed over to them. The couple is living in vain now. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I believe that the old couple also understand this problem, but the reason why they still do this is because they want Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan to do this, so their guilt of being unfilial and generous will be even deeper. Lin Baohe and his wife knew these things, and Chu Xia and Jing Zhe could also guess them. Therefore, they can only be led by the old couple at the moment. It would be nice if there was a phone. Chu Xia couldn't help but sigh. It's useless even if you have a phone. Jing Zhe looked helpless. Although we had planned to move back in a few days, I believe Deputy County Magistrate Zhang and his wife must have returned. Why are the old couple still this attitude? It shows that he can't persuade them at all. So old. He couldn't be tough with them. Besides, letting them live here was really a matter of help. Now, he couldn't completely erase their original help. Moreover, the most important thing about this matter is that they misunderstood Uncle Lin and Aunt Lin. In their opinion, they misunderstood Uncle Lin and Aunt Lin. They are upholding justice and making decisions for the people. Hey. I really don't know how to say good things about them. These old couple are not bad people. It's my father's and mother's business. Lin Baohe frowned tightly. They are afraid that I will get better. As soon as I get better, they will definitely feel uncomfortable. Chu Xia answered with a smile, Dad, you can't say that. If you are willing to give them benefits. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 they will be happy for you. If you don't let them benefit, they will be eager for you to beg for food. Your child is really neither old nor young. No matter what, they are your father's parents. Zhao Yulan was afraid that her husband would be embarrassed, so she scolded her daughter. Luo Xiaoqing stepped in with a bright red face. It won't take long to run from your house. Your body is too weak. You need to exercise hard. Chu Xia teased her with a smile. I ran back from the front of the village. My mother asked me to go find my father. Unfortunately, he and Xiao Xuan's father went to see off a drunkard. I asked Xiao Xuan to tell my father to come over when he was done, and then come here. As a result, guess what, I happened to encounter early spring and early autumn on the road. Of course, they didn't see me. I hid under the wall, and then I heard their conversation. Luo Xiaoxian recited exactly what she heard to several people. Chunny, Chu Xia tried hard to remember, is that the Japanese melon face? Xiaoxian Tongzi, who was still looking angry at first, was scolded by Chu Xia's description, you are so insulting. After all, he is also Lin Chuchun's sweetheart. How come he turned into a Japanese melon face when he came into your mouth? I'm just telling the truth, Dad, Dad. Seeing Lin Baohe walking out angrily, Chu Xia hurriedly said a few words to stop him. It's useless for you to go to your grandparents now, they won't admit it. You might even make a fuss with snot and tears, and then you'll be very angry because you didn't get it done. Dad, calm down. Let's discuss it. Xiaojie, you guys go to Fat Aunt's house first. I'll burn the Kong here and then go find you. Zhao Yulan was also very angry, but those were not her biological parents, so she could only force herself calm down and arrange the following things. Lin Baohe was forcibly dragged by Chu Xia and went to the Fat Aunt's house together. After entering the house, Chu Xia found that her father's face had no anger at all, so he asked curiously, Dad, you are not angry anymore? I was quite angry at first, but after seeing that you have been in the army for a while, your strength has increased a lot, so you are not angry anymore. Lin Baohe smiled at his fat aunt who looked at him worriedly, Cha Xiang, I'm fine, I'm just it makes the old man and the old lady angry. Luo Xiaoxian quickly reported what she heard to her fat aunt. These old couple are getting more and more confused as they get older. The fat aunt couldn't help but sigh, Baohe, we're not angry. This girl and her parents also value fate. You and them just don't have fate. Besides, yes, you have already severed ties with them, and you have given them everything you deserve. You don't owe them anything. In the future, don't talk to them anymore. Ordinarily, I am an outsider and shouldn't say such things, but what they did is really too much. The more you tolerate it, the more they think you are easy to bully. Why do you think they dare to do this time? Didn't they think about what would happen if it didn't work? Lin Baohe really didn't think about this. After being reminded by the fat aunt, he really understood the old couple's plan, and looked at his daughter distressedly, Xia, don't worry, Dad won't let them take advantage of you, even if you are not good at all. People in my hometown say I am unfilial, and I admit it. Dad, it's not that serious. Chu Xia took his arm and rubbed it, Dad values me more than anything else. I've always known that. You too. The fat aunt smiled and shook her head, then turned around and continued to work on the meal. No, I have to go to the county now. Jing Zhe suddenly stood up, I thought about it for a while, it would be better if Deputy County Magistrate Zhang was present for this matter. Who knows if there is anything wrong with his father and mother? What if something happens, we will be in trouble. Seeing that it was almost 7 o'clock, Lin Baohe tried to dissuade him, if you really want to ask Deputy County Magistrate Zhang to come over, let's do it tomorrow. It's so late and the road is unsafe. We've already returned home, so there's no rush now. It's only 40 minutes journey from here to the county. I'll stay there at night. I'll come over with Zhang Dongfang early tomorrow morning. Uncle Lin, I didn't arrange this well. I would have known that his parents were like this, I will find someone else to buy this house. If you don't let me handle this matter smoothly, I will never get over this hurdle. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 789. The two updates are combined. After dinner, Zhao Qian took Chu Xia to her room, closed the door, and said straight to the point, Xia, I want to move back to the Lu family tomorrow. My father and my mother will return to their hometown the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow, Chu Xia looked at her with some surprise, second uncle and second aunt agreed. Yes, Zhao Qian nodded, my father and my mother still want me to stabilize quickly. Xia, to be honest, we have been very uncomfortable these 2 days when you and my sister-in-law and uncle are not here. Your mother-in-law's family is really kind to us, but the more this happens, the more we can't help but look at you. You are about to enter school, and it would be too shameful for us to live here anymore. I also want to understand, I have made so many mistakes, how could I go wrong again? As I am now, which man can truly fall in love with me? Regardless of whether Lu Zhenqiang is so insistent because his brother-in-law talked to him, at least he will not dare to do anything to me in this life. As for me, I will not be arrogant when I marry into his family. I have thought about it. From now on, I will live a good life with him. People's hearts are full of flesh. As time goes by, he will definitely treat me sincerely. His mother will be able to accept me when she sees that I live with him sincerely. I know that he forced his sister to come with him. I guess she still won't get along with me if I get married. That doesn't matter. When she gets married, I won't have to face her every day. As for whether she will accept me or not in the future, I can't control it, but I believe that when a person really becomes a family, some things can be understood. Look at me, I didn't understand anything before, but now, I really understand everything. People, there is nothing that you can't understand. It just depends on whether you are willing to think about it. Xia, I may not be able to help you with anything in this life, but I know that I can still live a good life because of you as my sister. I have done a lot of bad things in the past, and you don't care about it. Thank you. Chu Xia had a look of helplessness on her face. In the past, she would have done everything to help her, but now, she was really uncomfortable with being so polite all of a sudden. However, such changes are always good, and she didn't say any unnecessary polite words. He said directly, since you have decided, let's do this. When will Lu Zhenqiang pick you up? Zhao Qian smiled sheepishly, I haven't informed him yet, I want to wait until I finish talking to you before informing him. Then he quickly explained, I didn't mean to wait for you to come back to support me, I just felt that this matter I should let you know first, that's what it should be. Because I was afraid of being misunderstood by Chu Xia. Zhao Qian's explanation was a little incoherent, so Chu Xia smiled and said, Sister, I have seen the changes in you these days, and I won't think too much about it. I think so, don't call him to inform him. If he comes over tomorrow, ask him to take you back. If he doesn't come over, just wait and see, okay? Okay, I'll listen to you. Zhao Qian nodded. How could she not understand that her cousin was trying to gain face for her? In fact, she really thought so, but she didn't have the nerve to say it. The longer she stayed with Chu Xia, the more she regretted her past willfulness. She didn't know what jealousy she felt at that time. If she had gotten along well with her cousin earlier, how could she end up in this situation today? If she knew that her cousin's core had been changed, she would definitely not think so. After leaving Zhao Qian's room, Chu Xia went to find Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe. The couple learned about Zhao Qian's decision. Not only were they not surprised, they also breathed a sigh of relief. We won't live here after school starts. If they can still live here with peace of mind, it only means that all their changes are superficial. In this way, it means that our help is worth it, Zhao Yulan said. Lin Baohe also quickly agreed, yes, Xia, your mother and I have been worried about this for a long time. If they are really pretending, then helping them will really bring trouble to themselves. Dad, Mother. Chu Xia looked at the couple with a smile, you are not as good a person as I thought. It's not the case, the couple said in unison, looked at each other, and laughed sheepishly. In fact, they felt a little ashamed for thinking this way. Chu Xia hugged her father and mother's neck and said, I'm finally relieved. Even if I'm not with you, I don't have to worry about you being cheated. Who would lie to us? The couple said in unison. In the future, we will be dating more and more people, and it is inevitable that there will be those who can pretend to be unkind. Chu Xia waved her hands with a smile, I won't say any more, Just think that I was just worrying about things in vain. Mom and Dad, you should rest early. Yes, I'm going to sleep too. Opening the door, I saw Joe Mikang sitting on the bedside reading a book. Chu Xia leaned over with a flattering smile. Where are you reading? The corners of the group leader's mouth twitched, and he raised his eyes to look at her with an unhappy look on his face. You don't need to be so careful when making requests from me, just say it directly. Can you please tell my parents-in-law and others tomorrow morning that my second uncle's family will be moving out in the next 2 days? Chu Xia hugged his arm awkwardly. Originally I wanted to say it myself, but I still feel it's better for you to say it, isn't it? Why is it so sudden? Joe Mikang frowned. Didn't you say you would stay for a month before leaving? Is there someone with a bad attitude that made their stay uncomfortable? No, Zhao Qian has decided to move to the Lu family. Anyway, he has decided not to break up. It would be pointless to delay it any longer. Besides, when I start school, they will live here with a name that is not justified. How can we feel comfortable together? Zhou Mikang nodded. Lu Zhenqiang should be allowed to take good care of her. Okay, I will tell the elders tomorrow morning that in fact, you are worried too much. Even if you say it, they will not misunderstand her. I know, but it's better if you say it. Facts have proved that Chu Xia's worries were justified. Early the next morning, when Zhou Mikang came back from running and told Mrs. Zhou about this matter, the old lady immediately frowned. Someone has a bad attitude and can't live in the house anymore already. No, Zhou Mikang laughed. Chu Xia was worried that you would think so, so she asked me to tell you that Zhao Qian really wanted to go back to the Lu family and live a good life with Lu Zhenqiang. Anyway, we have already planned to get married. Spending time at our house will not only not solve the problem, but also hurt the relationship between the two of us. It is better to get over it earlier. Is this really true? Mrs. Zhou still didn't believe it. It's not like Grandma doesn't know what kind of character I am. Zhou Mikang shook his head amusedly. Do you think I have the kind of character that lies to cover up the truth? Mrs. Zhou breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, but it shows that Qian's child is understanding. Originally, I had thought about this, but from my perspective, it's really hard to say anything, lest others let others know. The misunderstanding was that we said that because we didn't want people to live there. It's better now, people, it's never too late to understand. Grandma, you can talk to your grandparents later, and I'll go back to the room and take a shower. Go. The old lady waved her hand to him and warned, be gentle and don't startle Xia. She is feeling restless now. You can't affect his rest. I know. There was a black line on Zhou Mikang's head. He was not an ignorant child, how could he not understand this truth? Lu family. As soon as old Mrs. Lu put breakfast on the table, Lu Zhenqiang yawned and sat down at the table. Eat something and go to bed quickly. Alas. Sighing, old Mrs. Lu looked at her son. I feel so heartbroken. How has my son ever suffered this kind of crime in these years? Covering his face with both hands and rubbing it, Lu Zhenqiang finally regained his energy. Mom, I'm going to visit Zhou's house after dinner. It's business to bring Qian back as soon as possible. Hey, old Mrs. Lu sighed and said nothing. Originally, she didn't understand why her son was so eager to find Zhao Qian. After knowing the reason, she was helpless. A family of 3 has to live. If the son really loses his job, all the talk will be false. Mom, it's okay. I can hold on. It will be the same if I go to sleep when I get back in the afternoon. Lu Zhenfen, who came out of the house with her shoes on, answered dissatisfiedly, brother, if she really cares about you, she can't be so angry even though she knows you work the night shift. These days, you said you didn't report on any day? Can't she tell you whether she wants to be with you or not? Let me tell you, she is just relying on the Zhou family's power to show off her power. Brother, if you continue to spoil her like this, when she gets married, You still have to carry her shoes every day? Also, if you spoil her, how will your mother live? I'm fine. It's just her way of tossing you. Your brother can't bear it even if he's made of iron. Mrs. Lu said and sighed heavily, this is too bullying, how can you force it? I'm looking for a wife. Mom, don't worry. When she gets married, I will slowly train her. If she lives a good life, we will also treat her well. If she comes and is still the same as before, I will leave her even if I don't want to work anymore. Lu Zhenqiang's eyes were a little red as he said, my mother didn't bring us up so much just so that I could get a wife and be bullied. Son, as long as you say this, mother will be satisfied. Old Mrs. Lu gave her son a fried dough stick, eat more, leave early and come back early. From now on, you can do whatever you want, mother won't tell you is you. Tch, Lu Zhenfen curled her lips disdainfully, she is like that. If no one supports her, I don't think any beggar will marry her home. She is really a blessing to marry into our family. Brother, you can't do anything to spoil her just because the Zhou family supports her. Remember what you just said, even if I get married, if I know that my mother has been bullied by her, I will definitely come back and beat her up. When the time comes, brother, don't think I'm ignorant. No matter what happens, it's not your turn to beat her up. Lu Zhenqiang frowned and stared at his sister. Xiaofen, I'm happy that you're protecting your mother, but since I'm here to take care of her, it's not your turn to take the lead. Do you understand? Brother, Lu Zhenfen was so angry that tears welled up in her eyes, you haven't brought her back yet, and your heart has obviously turned to her side. Will I still be able to live my life from now on? Xiaofen. Lu Zhenqiang put down his chopsticks. When this happened, I was quite angry with Zhao Qian. I felt that it was her fault that we ended up in this situation. But after thinking about it calmly these days, I can only say that I probably can't hope for a big future in my life. It was Zhao Qian who I fell in love with first, and I agreed to let her be the daughter-in-law of the Lu family. At that time, our family was poor and lived in a small house in the suburbs. No one wanted to marry me, and I never expected that I would fall in Shangfeng's eye and have a smooth career. To be honest, I really took a fancy to Zhao Qian at that time. Although she was not tall and a little fat, she was old and fair. You, my brother, and I are not outstanding in terms of stature and appearance. I can find her. I feel quite contented. In terms of age, I am nearly 10 years older than others. If someone had told me at that time that Jin Lan would agree to be with me one day, I would never have believed it. In fact, when I really got together with Zhao Qian, I already knew that my career had turned around, but I didn't think about abandoning her at the time. Later. Sighing, Lu Zhenqiang continued, later it was because of Zhong Hongying's initiative, which made my mind suddenly confused. I was with Zhong Hongying, but she was the one who drugged the wine. I never told you this, but that's the fact. If it weren't for her little actions, I probably wouldn't have been with her so quickly. Men, sometimes it's easy to do this kind of thing. You know clearly that Zhong Hongying is not interested in me as a person, but because of our family conditions. If you have Gaoji, you will definitely kick me away, but you have to cover your ears. She told herself that she was with me because of my charm. Actually speaking, my feelings for Zhao Qian are definitely deeper than my feelings for Zhong Hongying. But at the time, I didn't think about it. It wasn't until the relationship between Jin Lan and I took a turn for the better that I really realized that I had done something wrong. I tried every possible means to conceal my relationship with Zhong Hongying, but she is not as easy to deceive as Zhao Qian. In order to get rid of her, I adjusted her work. Even though I knew that many people were gossiping, I still fulfilled her request. If it weren't for this reason, he probably wouldn't have really abandoned me. Mom, Xiaofen, I'm just saying this to let you know. In fact, the person who should be most blamed for what happened today is myself, followed by Zhong Hongying, and Zhao Qian is the one who should be blamed most. Innocent, she has a bad character, but she has no evil intentions. If you really coax her, she will never cause any trouble. I don't know if I will always be a worker in this life, but if I marry Zhao Qian back home, there is at least hope of getting rid of my current life. Don't say that the Zhou family is bullying people. There is no need for them to do anything. As long as I am not with Zhao Qian, someone will definitely step on me. When the time comes, returning to the countryside to farm will probably be the only way out. As for Jin Lan, since she found out that I was being hummed, she has ignored me at all. She even came to me specifically a few days ago and told me that she had found a partner and asked me not to write to her or call her again. Mom, Xiaofen, all my roads are blocked. Do you really want me to hit my head and bleed out before you accept Zhao Qian? However, by that time, she probably won't accept me anymore. This was the first time Lu Zhenqiang mentioned these words to his family. Therefore, after he finished speaking, the room fell into a long silence. After a while, Mrs. Lu sighed, "Son, please bring Qi Yan back. Let's take good care of her, it's us who are sorry." Mom. Lu Zhenfen still had a look of disapproval. Even if what I said is true, even if she is not wrong, my mother can see how lazy she was when she lived here before. If she is really brought back as an ancestor this time, then she will probably have to be treated as an ancestor in the future. I have no problem with my brother bringing her back, but I definitely don't agree with my mother serving her. Then you will take care of me. Why do you want me to take care of her? Lu Zhenfen jumped up. Even if it is a miscarriage, she has been raised for a few days. What can I take care of? Lu Zhenqiang frowned and glared at her. Lu Zhenfen, you are also a girl. One day you will get married and have children. I hope you will remember what you said today and think carefully about whether this is the right thing to do. Wrong. Let me emphasize again that I was forced to pick her up at first. Now, I sincerely want to pick her back because I already know clearly who is the one who is willing to accompany me for the rest of my life. Do you know the reason why your brother and I were selected? Just because I know how much I weigh, I will never overestimate or underestimate myself. As for what happened today, it was because of my sudden luck that I lost my way. I didn't know how much I weighed, which is why I fell so miserably. After what happened this time, I will never make the same mistake again in my life. Today, I am going to take Zhao Qian back. Mom has already expressed her intention to treat her well. If you can't do that, stay away from her. I don't need you to take care of her, but I don't allow you to bully her. Also, think about it for yourself. When you find fault with others, have you ever thought about yourself? You used to be very diligent and sensible, but since I transferred to the county, you no longer know who you are. Well, it didn't matter if you didn't know who you were at that time, I could still protect you, but now, I am an ordinary citizen, and I may lose my job at any time, so how can I protect you? If you are still ignorant and willful at this time, then let me tell you, your life will definitely not be what you want in the future. I'm telling you this because I'm your brother. If you want to listen, just listen. If you don't want to listen, just keep it. One day you will understand who is the person who truly cares for you. Mom, I'm going to the Zhou family. Please help me tidy up my room. Go quickly, Mrs. Lu responded and gave her daughter a gentle push. Xiaofen, go with your brother to pick up your sister-in-law. I'm not going. Lu Zhenfen was furious now. If Zhao Qian were in front of her, she would probably strangle him to death, but she would not really follow Lu Zhenqiang. With a cold snort, Lu Zhenqiang turned around and left the room. Old Mrs. Lu looked at her daughter helplessly. Xiaofen, don't be stubborn. Your brother is right. Our family is not as good as it was a few months ago. Just calm down. You are not young anymore. If you don't change your temper, this will happen. It will be difficult for my husband's family to find a suitable wife. I'm obviously doing this for his own good, but you still do this to me. You're so ignorant. Lu Jianfen looked at old Mrs. Lu with a dissatisfied look on her face. Mom, are you really going to listen to me? He's confused and you don't know what's good for him. Are you just being confused? If you really listen to him, I won't be able to stay in this family anymore. Xiaofen, your brother and I have spoiled you. Mrs. Lu looked at her daughter with a headache. Your sister-in-law had a miscarriage. You were obviously there at the time, but you didn't protect her. Thinking about it now, does she feel guilty? Anyway, mother feels guilty. Even if mother was dissatisfied with her before, she still feels terribly ashamed about this matter. Although my mother didn't agree with your brother taking her back before, she has actually decided that if she does take her back, her mother will definitely make up for her mistakes. Your brother took all the responsibility on himself, but really speaking, don't we too have no responsibility? If we weren't so picky, could he arrange for Zhao Qian to live outside? If Zhao Qian was not arranged to live outside, how could he provoke Zhong Hongying? Xiaofen, you're not young anymore. Think about what your mother said. If you really can't figure it out, just stay away from your sister-in-law and live your own life, just like your brother said. I'll go find your sister-in-law later and ask her to help you find a suitable family. The sooner you get married, the sooner you can put your mother at ease. With your mother's body and strength, she might go to your father one day. I'm relieved about your brother, but with your temper, I'm really worried, and I really don't know how to deal with your father. Originally, Lu Jianfen was filled with anger when she heard that the old lady Lu said she wanted to marry him off. Before the daughter-in-law came in, she was thinking of pushing her daughter out. However, when she heard the old lady's worries, she was filled with anger. It turned into sadness, and the one who felt sorry for her the most was indeed her mother. Mom, I listened to you. Lu Jianfen finally gave in. I will try my best to get along well with her. If you really don't want to see her, just stay away. Don't worry. This is my good daughter. The old lady's rough hands caressed her daughter's face. Your father left early, and it's not easy for your brother to support this family. But you can't hold grudges against your brother, you know? I know. Lu Jianfen sniffed. Mom, I'm not ignorant, I really know. Mrs. Lu here finally persuaded her daughter, and Lu Zhenqiang also arrived at Zhou's house. Without the earnest words he expected, Zhao Qian agreed to go home with him, which made him stunned for a long time with his mouth half open before he believed it was true. Everyone in the Zhou family knew about Zhao Qian's decision and agreed with her. Emotionally speaking, everyone hopes to find someone they like, but as for this sweetheart, some people can adjust themselves, and some people can't. In other words, what you think is good may not be the same to others. Going to you, considering Zhao Qian's conditions, although this is still a bit unsatisfactory, but weighing the two aspects, it seems that this is the only choice. Ours. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 790. Second update. First release. Hearing that the teacher, Tongzi, wanted to help with the bathing, Shuxia took a step back in fright. Zhou Mikang, you know my bottom line. If you are wordy again, you will be responsible for the consequences. Knowing his little wife's temper, he knew that she couldn't ask him to help. Originally, he was just talking. Seeing his little wife's reaction so fiercely, the corners of Zhou Mixang's lips curled up. Be more obedient in the future. I have a bottom line, you know. I'm a pregnant woman. Someone straightened his back confidently. If you dare to bully me, I will call my grandparents to complain. Su Jo Mixang stared at her unmoved. I'll tell them if you don't get a good rest, we'll see who they turn to. Who doesn't want to have a good rest? Isn't this a special situation today? Jo Mikang, how did you become such a mother-in-law? Is it possible that pregnancy is also contagious? Chu Xia said while glancing at his belly. Why do I feel about your character? More like a pregnant woman. Jo Mikang. Chu Xia, who left the teacher Tongzi speechless, was satisfied. She pushed him out of the bathroom with a smile, and inserted the latch with a pop sound. Jo Mikang smiled helplessly, sat down at the desk, picked up a book and started flipping through it. From time to time, he paid attention to the movement in the bathroom. His little wife was pregnant, and he was really worried. 20 minutes later, Chu Xia walked out of the bathroom. The leader finally felt relieved. He was secretly annoyed. What if he always felt like this when he was not with his little wife? Reason told him that although his wife was young, she was well measured and there was no need for him to worry blindly. But emotionally, he couldn't control his random thoughts at all. In private, he also asked his eldest brother, and found out that his eldest brother was more nervous about his sister-in-law than he was about Chu Xia, or maybe it was like this for all first-time fathers. Help the little wife wipe her hair until it is mostly dry, and then comb her hair with her hands and stroke it over and over again. This can make the hair dry faster. From a health point of view, pregnant women should use the hair dryer less, so as long as he is around, I helped my little wife dry her hair with my own hands. When I was away, I didn't forget to tell her over and over again to be patient and not to ignore her health. Jo Mikang, I am the biological mother of the child, am I so heartless? Chu Xia looked at her husband who was talking about the same old words with a speechless face. I really don't know whether I am pregnant or you are pregnant. Don't bother me nagging you. Jo Mikang snorted coldly, let you tell yourself, have you ever dried your hair slowly while I was away? I will pay attention to it in the future. Didn't I promise you? You say this every time, but you fail to do it every time. In your words, your credit with me has dropped to a negative number, so I have to remind you over and over again. I will keep my word this time. Afraid that the other party would talk about her again, Chu Xia quickly changed the subject. By the way, what do you think of Li Xinlai? It's not bad, Jo Mikang simply commented in 3 words. What do you mean it's okay? Can't you be more specific? Chu Xia rolled her eyes at him. I'm not familiar with the place here, and it's hard to find a friend to accompany me every day. I value it very much. Since you have a sharp eye, you have to keep a check on me. It's okay to be friends. Jo Mikang patted his young wife on the shoulder. Let's just wait and see. After a while, when we get to know more classmates, it will be fine. That sounds like you don't quite approve of her. No, Jo Mikang shook his head. She has a really good personality. She's not too sensitive or jealous. She still has a little persistence. If we get along well, you two will be very good friends. I feel relieved when you say that. Chu Xia held his hand. Okay, it's almost done. You can go take a shower. I'll be dry after sitting for a while. You. Jo Mikang nodded her forehead. You are obviously escaping. Forget it, I won't nag you if you don't want to hear it. There are some truths that you have to experience for yourself to understand better. Chu Xia. Is it okay to sound so old-fashioned? It's as if he is an elder and she is a child. Isn't she just a little lazy? To be honest, people who are used to using hair dryers in later generations really don't like it when they suddenly switch to natural wind. Originally, it was fine if she didn't have the conditions at home, but now that she has the conditions, she always takes the hair dryer uncontrollably. She really wants to change it, but every time she thinks, she won't use it next time, and then, just next time, next time, next time. Thinking about it this way, it was really her fault. Chu Xia decided that after her teacher's Wangzi came out, she must apologize to him and control herself. Procrastination is the worst thing. This is a very common phenomenon in later generations. Nowadays, there are still relatively few such people. She cannot be a typical example in this regard. Thinking wildly, Chu Xia didn't know what time she fell asleep. When she woke up, it was already 6 o'clock in the morning. The teacher Zhongzi happened to come out of the bathroom. When he saw her sitting up, he stepped forward and rubbed her head. Sleep a little longer, the reporting time is 9 o'clock, and you can get up in time at 7:30. Oh, she responded in a daze, and Chu Xia lay back down again, not forgetting to tell her husband, "Tell my mother that if Li Xinlai comes, ask her to wait for me for a while." After hesitating for a moment, Zhou Mixang said, "Okay, if he told her about Li Xinlai's visit last night, his wife would definitely get up and stay awake, so let's lie to her first." "Let me help." "No, you go and sit down. It's enough for us as a couple in the kitchen." Li Xinlai stood at the door of the kitchen, looking at Wang Zhongliang and Qin Yingfen, who were busy making breakfast. She looked uncomfortable. She came to stay at someone's house for one night. If she didn't help a little, she would still have breakfast here. She was really sorry. But she also saw that the couple worked very quickly and had excellent skills. When she went in, she couldn't help much, but they just sat and waited. She felt even worse. When she turned around, she happened to see them. Zhou Mikang came downstairs and stood up straight. "Hello, hello." She didn't know how to address the other person. Zhou Mikang nodded to her and pointed to the sofa. "Sit down and wait. Chu Xia will get up later. If you don't want her to feel uncomfortable, just be more comfortable." This was a difficult thing to say, but Li Xinlai quickly understood what her teacher Tongzi meant, smiled gratefully at him, and sat down on the sofa obediently. After Chu Xia finished washing and went downstairs, she saw Li Xinlai and her mother sitting on the sofa chatting, so she said apologetically, "I'm sorry, I got up late. I kept you waiting for a long time, right?" "No. No." Li Xinlai quickly stood up and smiled uncomfortably. "Chu Xia, did you sleep well?" "It's good." Chu Xia nodded and looked at Zhao Yulan. "Mom, we just moved to a new place. You and Dad also slept well, okay. Where is Grandpa?" Normally, Mr. Wan would have been up early at this point. "I said I was going out for some activities. I guess I'll be back soon." Zhao Yulan pulled her daughter to sit down. "You were already asleep when Xinlai came last night, so I didn't call you to get up." Chu Xia was stunned for a moment, and immediately understood the reason for Li Xinlai's discomfort, and couldn't help complaining, "Does that bastard Zhou Mikang know? He didn't even tell me, and waited until he came back to see how I would deal with him. You kid, you're not afraid of people laughing at you when you talk like that in front of Xinlai." Zhao Yulan slapped her daughter angrily and funnily. "Why didn't he tell you if he wasn't afraid that you wouldn't get enough rest? It doesn't matter if I don't have a good rest for a day. Xinlai will definitely feel uncomfortable when she comes at night. If I sleep until this point, she will be even more uncomfortable." Chu Xia grabbed Li Xinlai and said, "Sister Xinlai, yesterday we were the first. We've only met for the first time, but you and I are quite in tune with each other, and my parents and grandpa also like you. I told my third sister-in-law before that if you can stay at my house and be my companion. My parents don't know anyone here, and it's more lively in a house with more than one person. I'm very happy that you can think of my home. Really, if you don't really believe in me and recognize me as a friend, you won't come, I know." Without asking any more questions, she just reassured herself, and Li Xinlai looked at Chu Xia with a grateful face. "I know, if you don't like me saying thank you, then I won't say it. However, how grateful I am to you. You must know that after I went home yesterday, I had a very unpleasant quarrel with my mother and sister. My father protected me and also quarreled with my mother. Then, they talked about divorce. Yesterday at your house, Sister Jingzi and Sister Jing-I also said that my father and I have no status in the family. Even my mother was not happy when I was admitted to college. I regret not letting my sister take my place. To be honest, my mother's behavior really chilled me. I was really angry yesterday, otherwise I wouldn't have picked up my luggage and left so late. Originally, I was thinking of going to my dad's factory to deal with it all night. It was Sister Jingzi and Sister Jing-I who chased us to the door and stopped us. They wanted me to live at her house, but I couldn't harm them. If I really went, the Fang family wouldn't be able to live with my mother's quarrels every day. Later, when there was really no other way, they thought of sending me to your house, saying that I could go to school with you at the right time. It was almost 10 o'clock when we arrived, which was really disturbing. Hearing this, Chu Xia already understood the cause and effect, so she interrupted her. Okay, I'm very happy that you can happily come here with your third sister-in-law and Sister Jing-I. If you don't want to disturb me, don't say anything more. My parents, grandfather, and Zhou Mikang are all hospitable people, and they also know that your coming over at that time is a last resort. If you are always so polite, you are out of touch, but... Chu Xia winked at her. If you are really sorry, there is something you can do to help me. What's the matter? Li Xinlai sat up straight unconsciously. When I take a break from school, help me copy an extra set of notes. Don't let me repeat the grade. That's for sure, Li Xinlai quickly promised. I will definitely do this well and let us graduate together. If you fail to graduate, I will wait for you. Early summer, ours. Remember the novel World in 1 Second, First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind, author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 791. One update arrived. After breakfast, Chu Xia and Li Xinlai went to school to report. It only took 3 minutes to walk from her home to school. Therefore, she stopped her teacher Zhangzi, who wanted to accompany her, and her eldest brother and third brother who had arrived early. Chu Xia, you are so happy. As she walked on the road, Li Xinlai looked at Chu Xia with envy. Your parents love you so much, your husband and your cousins dote on you so much, and you have such a kind godfather, so true good. You will also be happy. Chu Xia smiled at her. I am not trying to comfort you. You may be missing a part of your family relationship, but God is fair and will definitely provide it to you elsewhere. I believe this. Li Xinlai smiled and nodded. Actually, God has been compensating me during this period. After I was admitted to college, Sister Jingzi and Sister Jing-I cared about me so much. We hit it off again, and so did my dad. I feel really sorry for you, so to speak. I have family and friends, and I am really full of hope for the future. For such a good girl like you, there will definitely be a good boy who will like you and pamper you. Chu Xia pointed out the part she was embarrassed to say, of course, wanting to give her more confidence. Li Xinlai's cheeks turned red, and she admitted generously, yes, I am still looking forward to love. I have also thought about it. I must find a man with whom I can talk and have similar ideas to marry. You can't be like my mother and my sister and just look at external conditions. I totally agree with your point of view. Money can be made, but character is hard to change. Therefore, finding an upright man who suits you is more important than anything else. When I'm sure, you have to check it for me, okay? Okay. Chu Xia looked at her with a smile. Don't you have a goal? After a slight hesitation, Li Xinlai said, I don't know if this counts, but I am very happy every time I see him, and I can go to college this time thanks to him. However, I don't know what he thinks yet. Woolen cloth. Look at how many men have turned their backs with your shy little appearance. Hey, I should try to stay with you as little as possible in the future. It's too dangerous, Chu Xia said, and deliberately distanced herself from Li Xinlai. Only then did Li Xinlai realize that while they were talking, the two of them had already walked into the school courtyard. Every student passing by would glance at the two of them quietly. She was stunned for a moment, but she quickly understood and a smile appeared on her lips. Chusia, with you by my side, who can notice me? Everyone is just secretly looking at you. Chusia's current height is about 1.66 meters, and Lee Xinlai is about the same height as her. They are both tall and thin, with delicate and fair complexion and exquisite facial features. One of them is charming. A beautiful woman with a refreshing hairstyle that is different from this era. Walking together, it is absolutely eye-catching. Not to mention the boys, even the girls can't help but turn around and take another sneak peek when they walk past. There is another key point why the two of them are so eye-catching. The capital city is different from small places. The aesthetic vision of young people has overlapped with that of later generations. In fact, in rural areas, many people still think that the two of them are good-looking. But it's not practical, and the most attention given to it is disdain. Pull her down. Look at everyone's eyes. Are they looking at you? Chu Xia looked at Lee Xinlai again and couldn't help but click her tongue. I can conclude that love will find you soon. Lee Xinlai drooped her head, her face flushed. She had already discovered that everyone really didn't just pay attention to Chu Xia, there were also a small number of people who took a peek at her. She had never been paid attention to like this since she was a child. She really didn't. After adapting, I felt a little faintly excited. Chu Xia's behavior towards Lee Xinlai is quite understandable. She has been ignored by her mother since she was a child. She has no good clothes to wear, her hair is messy, and half of her face is covered by it. It is estimated that many people don't even know what she looks like. I don't know, this suddenly became the focus of everyone's attention. It would be weird if I could be calm about it. After following the sign and walking to the registration desk, Lee Xinlai finally calmed down and smiled sheepishly at Chu Xia. Am I being too petty? You'll get used to it after a while. Chu Xia smiled at her and said nothing more. From an outsider's perspective, it was hard for her to say anything. Could it be that it was all your mother's fault for burying you? Don't you think you look good? Wouldn't that just add salt to someone's wound? This is the first year that the medical university has resumed enrollment. It can be said that there are students of all ages who come to register. There are more than 20 students in line in front of the two of them, including those in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. Chu Xia and Lee Xinlai arrived just in time. When it was their turn, there was already a long queue behind them. When the two of them finished the formalities and left, many people whispered about them. Of course, they were not talking about their good looks, but envied their age. From visual inspection, there was basically no one under the age of 20 in the entire team. Lee Xinlai is just 20 this year, but because of her hairstyle, she looks like she is 10 years old. She just turned 18 in early summer, and she does not have a mature appearance. Together, the two of them are absolutely eye-catching and absolutely young. Envy is not surprising at all. I didn't live on campus in early summer, but there was nothing wrong with going back now, so I accompanied Lee Xinlai to find the dormitory. The dormitory area is located on the east side of the school. It took about a quarter of an hour to walk from the registration office. Lee Xinlai's luggage is still at Chu Xia's house, so the two of them came here to identify themselves first. Early summer, early summer. As soon as she walked downstairs to the girls' dormitory, Chu Xia heard someone yelling her name. When she looked up, she saw Lin Mengran standing on the second floor, waving hard at her. She had never seen him so enthusiastic before. Coming, coming. Chu Xia responded twice, pulled Lee Xinlai upstairs, and whispered, "She is my teammate in the women's medical team. She is a nice person and quite generous. It's great to be admitted to the same school as my friends." Lee Xinlai looked at her with envy. "I have a best friend who took the exam with me, but unfortunately she didn't pass. I came yesterday and wanted to find you, but I didn't know where you were. Lin Mengran had already arrived at the stairs, chattering to himself, then stepped forward to pull Chu Xia and smiled at Li Xinlai. Hello, my name is Lin Mengran, I am Chu Xia's comrade and colleague. Hello, my name is Li Xinlai. She was embarrassed to say that she was Chu Xia's good friend, but she didn't know how to introduce her relationship with Chu Xia. Li Xinlai smiled coquettishly, looking embarrassed. Chu Xia took the call and said, Xinlai is my new friend. You're so good looking, Lin Mengran praised and then asked, which dormitory do you live in? Li Xinlai quickly said, 205. Really? Lin Mengran smiled with crooked eyebrows, I am 206, our neighbor. Then he looked at Chu Xia again, Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo both share a dormitory with me, and they haven't arrived yet. Chu Xia was a little uncomfortable with Lin Mengran's enthusiasm. In her impression, Lin Mengran had a personality, was very upright, but was always indifferent to others. This sudden reversal made her feel like she was insane. Did you come by yourself? Chu Xia asked casually as she didn't know what to say. In the impression, Lin Mengran and Chu Xiaojing were inseparable. Yes, Lin Mengran responded, her mood obviously a little low. When she arrived at the door of 205, she smiled at the two of them, this is 205. You go in and take a look first. Find me in 206 later. Okay, although he was puzzled, it was hard to ask anything at the moment. Chu Xia responded and followed Li Xinlai into 205. Lin Mengran did not follow. Two girls had already arrived in the dormitory, one was in her mid-20s and the other was in her 30s. When they heard the door open, they both turned around, and the younger one smiled proactively, hello. Hello, my name is Li Xinlai, and I also live in this dormitory. Hello, my name is Lin Chuxia. I don't live on campus. I'm coming with Xinlai to visit. The younger girls also quickly introduced themselves, my name is Zhang Fenying. My hometown is Yanqi. I used to be a female worker in the city's national cotton factory number 5. Two of us passed the exam in our factory, namely me and Sister Gaikin, she pointed while talking. Pointing to the older girl, Sister Gaikin and my family also have the surname Zhang. Hello, Sister Gaikin. Hello, Sister Gaikin. The other party was older, so Chu Xia and Li Xinlai took the initiative to say hello to Zhang Gaikin. Hello. Zhang Gaikin's face turned red, I'm old and I'm embarrassed to talk to you. It's not that I don't care about anyone. Zhang Fenying smiled and shook her head, Sister Gaikin was telling me just now that she hasn't seen any girls older than her yet and feels embarrassed to live here. I said, what's the point of being embarrassed? When I checked in, I saw there are boys in their 40s, but they are still embarrassed, so why should we be embarrassed? Li Xinlai quickly answered, yeah, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You guys came early, so there shouldn't be many people who have registered. Now go down and take a look. There are people of all ages. Really? Zhang Gaikin's eyes clearly lit up. Really? Li Xinlai nodded, if I lie to you, you will definitely hate me when you find out later. We have to live in the same house, how can I talk nonsense? You two are so young. Zhang Gaikin looked at the two of them with envy, are you 18 enough? I'm 20. Li Xinlai scratched her head in embarrassment, I had this haircut to look smaller, but it's actually not that young anymore. Chu Xia is young. I am 18 this year. Chu Xia smiled at Zhang Fenying and Zhang Gaikin, it's a good time for us to catch up. If we could have been admitted to college a few years ago, Sister Gaikin and Sister Fenying must have graduated by now. The two sisters are really good at talking, which makes us feel relieved. Zhang Fenying looked at Li Xinlai, who had empty hands in her hands, with a puzzled look on her face, why didn't you bring any luggage, ours? First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 792. Second update. Zhang Fenying asked why she didn't bring any luggage, and Li Xinlai hesitated and didn't know how to answer. She didn't know if Chu Xia was willing to let her classmates know that she lived near the school, for fear that if she said something wrong, Chu Xia would be unhappy. She left her luggage at my house and will bring it over in the afternoon. Seeing Li Xinlai's dilemma, Chu Xia answered for her. She lived next to the school and it was impossible to hide it, so she never thought about it. Who is hiding it? Of course, she won't take the initiative to tell others unless they ask. Zhang Fenying nodded suddenly and looked at Li Xinlai. Then you see which bed you want. I'll put the things on it for you to occupy first. As he spoke, he picked up one of his bags and pointed to the side next to him. The lower bunk, how about this one? Then I'll trouble Sister Fenying, Li Xinlai said quickly. What's the trouble? The one who comes first has the right to choose. That's how it should be. Zhang Fenying smiled heartily. We will live together for more than 4 years. Being able to get along is better than anything else. Besides, if there are people who don't get along with each other when living in the dormitory. Zhang Gaikan sighed, I've really had enough of that feeling, and now I can be freed from it. Sister Gaikan and I used to live in the same dormitory. I took my mother's class, and Sister Gaikan took her mother's class. We both worked in the factory. We got along very well, and we were both willing to read, so we were always together. Together. Others couldn't stand the way we looked, so they stopped interacting with us. It was okay at first, as long as we didn't interact with each other. But then we got older and older, and neither of us found a suitable partner. We could hear it wherever we went. The discussion between the two of us was nothing interesting anyway. It's okay outside, you can hide and not listen, but in the dormitory you can't hide at all. Those people openly asked us how we felt when we saw other people in pairs, and whether we were stupid because of studying. But speaking of it, Zhang Fenying breathed a sigh of relief and laughed. Speaking of which, we should thank those who say bad things about us. Otherwise, we can't devote all our energy to studying, and we can't be so lucky this time. Going to college. I am 30 this year. Zhang Gaikan took the initiative to report her age. I'm 27, Zhang Fenying said. The two of them are about the same age and appearance. In this day and age, if a girl of her age has no partner, she will be criticized by many people. Given their age, Chu Xia and Li Xinlai seemed inappropriate to comfort each other, and it was also inappropriate not to comfort each other. The two looked at each other, both at a loss. Zhang Fenying stepped forward and hugged the two of them. He smiled and said, you two, please don't look like that. Sister Gaikan and I don't care anymore. Anyway, we have agreed that we will marry the right one if we find one. If we don't find one, we would rather stay single. We don't want to just find someone. It is a disservice to oneself to marry. Yes, that's the truth, Li Xinlai said quickly. Finding someone who suits you is more important than anything else. I was talking about this to Chu Xia at that time. My parents have been quarreling all their lives. Look. I really feel that the life they lived was torture. Xinlai, you chat with the two sisters first. You can also get to know the other roommates when they arrive. I'll go to the dormitory next to see Xiaoran. Chu Xia smiled and nodded at Zhang Gaikan and Zhang Fenying, then retreated. It was really inconvenient for her to stay in when she went out. When we met for the first time, everyone was not familiar with each other, so we couldn't say much. Furthermore, as she was 18 years old and married, it was really inconvenient for her to discuss the topic of finding a partner with everyone. But don't speak. It's not appropriate. Just speak. When one day people know who she married, they will still say that her back hurts when she stands and talks. Then she should simply hide. As for whether people like her or not, that is not a question she considers at all. She has never wanted everyone to like her, and she has never thought that friendship can only be achieved through tolerance. If they get along, they will get along. If they don't get along, they will break up. The principles of friendship and love are the same. Lin Xiaoran was sitting on the bed in a daze. When she saw Chu Xia coming in, she smiled at her. Where's that? Still in 205, Chu Xia sat next to her and looked her up and down. What happened during this time? Judging from your behavior, I feel that you are not the Lin Xiaoran I know at all. You just acted in front of Li Xinlai. I'm too embarrassed to ask anything in person, so if it's convenient, just chat with me and don't keep it to yourself. Xiaojing. Lin Xiaoran bit her lip hard. Xiaojing is gone. Chu Xia said smoothly, where have you gone? Heaven. Ah, Chu Xia jumped up in shock. You. What I said is true. Lin Xiaoran's voice choked up. I won't make fun of Xiaojing. How, left, Chu Xia almost squeezed these words out from between her teeth. She never imagined that such a healthy and vivid life would disappear like this. Save people. Lin Xiaoran sniffed. Didn't she go home during the Chinese New Year? The children in the village secretly went skating in the river without telling the adults. Some of them fell into the ice cave. She happened to pass by. The child they all rescued her, and she, left on her own. Chu Xia patted Lin Xiaoran on the shoulder and remained silent. There was no comfort in this kind of thing, and there was no way to comfort her. Moreover, she felt quite sad. To her, Chu Xiaojing was actually like a transparent person, following Lin Xiaoran all the time, turning a blind eye to her and the other team members. But even so, how could she not be sad after we had lived together for such a long time, at the same age, and left in such a way? I was sorting through her belongings and found her diary. Lin Mengran bit her lip for a long time before continuing. I always thought she was a quiet girl. Only after reading her diary did I realize that I was wrong. She envies your laughter and laughter together, her unbridled joking, her shoulder-to-shoulder friendship, her eating together, going out together, being punished and being disciplined together. Every line of her words was filled with longing for friendship and longing for excitement. I suddenly understood that since I was a child, I had only seen her following me quietly, but I ignored her indifference when she looked at the excitement. I understand. Chu Xia hugged her and patted her hard. I have admired your character before. If you are willing, we will be good friends in the future. It's necessary. Lin Mengran smiled at her, but tears rolled down her eyes. If I had understood earlier, she would not have regrets. I always thought that I was very individual like that, but I didn't expect that it was deprivation. Gave her too much fun. Chu Xia interrupted her. Don't blame yourself, she will feel sorry for you. You are so smart, you all know that she will love me. Lin Mengran sniffed. Yes, in this world, the person who loves me the most is actually her, even more than my parents. Hey, Chu Xia sighed again. Even if you want to live for yourself and her, don't force yourself to laugh. When you are unhappy, you are unhappy. When you are happy, you are happy. I think this is who she is. What I would rather see. Taking a long breath, Lin Mengran nodded. Okay, I listen to you. In fact, growing up, I really don't have a single friend. Ever since I was a child, I have been quite competitive. And after a pause, she continued, our Lin family is different from other families. Other families pass it down from male to female. Our family passes it down from female to male. Of course, now it is passed down from male to female. However, the head of the family you have to choose among the girls. My eldest sister is less talented than me, but she is more popular than me. To put it bluntly, she is better at pretending than me. What I hate the most is that she does one thing in front of me and does another behind her back, but unfortunately, everyone does her thing. Therefore, I don't bother to talk to anyone who has a good relationship with her. As a result, until now, except for my grandfather, everyone else, including my parents, likes my sister more than me. I know you are all curious about why I studied medicine. In fact, I just wanted to hide away and have some leisure time. At first, my family didn't approve of it. Later, it was my grandpa who saw that I was unhappy at home, so he gave me the green light. Specially approved Xiaojing to accompany me. After Xiaojing's accident, neither my father nor my mother agreed that I should continue to study medicine. It was me who insisted on coming out. If I stayed at home, I would really go crazy. Xiaojing was still with me before, but now, the number of people in the entire Lin family who like me can be counted with one slap. If I live under my sister's hypocrisy every day, my life will really be short-lived. This is really something that every family has a hard time reciting. Chu Xia has always been a little curious about Lin Mengran. Now it seems that this guy is not having an easy life. Hey, life, how many people can really get what they want? Already? Do you want to be the head of the Lin family? Chu Xia asked. I don't want to. Lin Mengran shook her head. My personality is not suitable, I know this very well, but... She looked confused. My sister is not suitable either, she is too small-minded. But my aunt, second aunt, and uncle all gave birth to boys, and the rules cannot be changed, so basically... She tore her hair again. I don't know what to do. Who is the current head of your family? Chu Xia asked. My grandma. In other words, the next one is passed on to your mother, right? Yes. Lin Xiaoran nodded and immediately understood what Chu Xia meant. You want to say that my mother will be the head of the family for many years anyway, so I don't need to worry about it, right? Chu Xia said matter-of-factly, yes, it will take at least 20 years, right? What do you have to worry about? Lin Mengran smiled bitterly. If this is the case, I really have nothing to worry about. Unfortunately, the Lin family has rules. When the new head of the family takes office, the next head of the family must be elected. My mother will take office in September next year, which means that by September next year at the latest, my sister and I must decide who will be the next head of the family. The head of the family is responsible for the development of the entire family. To be honest, this is not what I like, but I don't want to destroy the Lin family under my sister's hands. Ours. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 793. If Lin Mengran didn't have responsibilities to the family, she wouldn't have to worry like this. But as far as the current situation is concerned, worrying is the most useless thing. It's better to think about what you want and then decide what to do. Good. Thinking of this, Chu Xia advised, there is still more than a year, you might as well think carefully about whether you want to be the heir of the Lin family. If you want it, you must work hard to improve the relationship with your family from now on. If you don't want it, then just follow your own temperament, right? That's right. I'll think about what to do. Lin Mengran smiled gratefully at Chu Xia. Talking to you makes me feel much happier. Come to my house for dinner at noon, Chu Xia actively invited. Okay, I won't be polite to you. Lin Mengran took a long breath and looked at the time. How about we leave now? I guess Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo won't be able to arrive in the morning. Okay. Chu Xia stood up in response. She was also a little hungry and needed to go back to replenish some energy. Two more people came to the 205 dormitory, one named Wu Qing and the other Zhao Xiaohong. They were very enthusiastic. When they saw Chu Xia and Lin Mengran entering, they took the initiative to introduce themselves. After chatting with each other for a few words, Chu Xia looked at Li Xinlai. Xinlai, I want to go home, will you come with me now or go there by yourself later? Of course. Together Li Xinlai said goodbye to the roommates she was already familiar with, and then went out with Chu Xia and Lin Mengran. After going downstairs, she took the initiative to explain to Chu Xia, I don't have to occupy the lower bunk, I just feel that if I don't accept it, it will make Sister Fenying feel uncomfortable. Do you think I'm unhappy to leave because of this? Chusia looked at her funny. In your eyes, am I so petty? No, Li Xinlai quickly explained, I know you left because they talked about getting married and found it inconvenient. I just didn't want you to think I was so narrow-minded, so I told you my true thoughts. Oh, I got it, Chusia responded, her expression a little cold, and she was naturally a little unhappy with Li Xinlai's character. She was obviously chatting enthusiastically with Zhang Gaikan and Zhang Fenying, but now she said this, what does it mean? Li Xinlai also felt the change in Chusia's attitude towards her. Her lips moved, but in the end she didn't say a word. If you look closely, you will find that her eyes are red. Lin Mengran has a straightforward temperament, and he doesn't like Li Xinlai's approach very much. If he accepts it, he will accept it happily and don't say bad things about her. It really makes you look noble and petty to others. And she didn't think there was anything wrong with being the first to occupy the lower bunk. When she went to 206, she occupied the beds for herself and Wu Jingbo and Yang Xiaoli first. It is right to put others before yourself, but is it tiring to put others before yourself in everything? Although she was thinking this way, Lin Mengran didn't interrupt. Firstly, she and Li Xinlai had just met, and secondly, she still had a lot of troubles to worry about, and she really didn't have the heart to care about what others were doing. The three of them walked forward in silence. It was really awkward. Lin Mengran took Chusia's arm and said, I came to the school yesterday for a walk and found that the scenery is really good. If I have time in the afternoon, I will take you to the back to have a look there. Artificial lake. And there's an artificial lake, Chusia looked at her doubtfully, isn't it just a small inlet? Lin Mengran curled her lips, look, do you underestimate people? Even if I have never seen the world again, I still can't call a small inlet an artificial lake. You will know when you see it, everything is planted beside the lake. It's a willow tree, and it will definitely be particularly beautiful in spring. After thinking about it, Chusia still said, I have reservations for the time being. I will express my opinion after seeing you. Don't blame her for not believing it. It is true that later generations are used to seeing artificial lakes in real estate advertisements. Well, even though Yang Lin Mengran is placed in this way, it's not kind, but in her opinion, the school is so big, it's just a big pond at best, right? Lin Mengran snorted coldly and raised his eyebrows, you will know it yourself when you see it. You will definitely be surprised. Chusia really couldn't describe the degree of surprise, so she just smiled and didn't express any further opinions on this topic. Actually, it's a big spring, and the locals call it Beihe Spring. Li Xinlai, whose mood had almost calmed down, interjected, there is a big spring and 3 small springs under that spring. It is not obvious on the surface, but in fact, large pipes are laid underneath to lead the water out. After being purified by the 3rd water plant, it is then directed to residents' homes. Tens of thousands of residents nearby drink the water from Beihe Spring. No wonder. Chusia looked astonished, I thought the water here was very sweet yesterday. It turned out to be this reason. Yes, it's really good. She didn't say the next words. If this kind of spring is left in future generations, it will definitely be it is sold directly to mineral water factories to make mineral water. People want to drink it, It's a place full of outstanding people. I hope she can take advantage of it. Does that mean that after I stayed here for a few years, I became extremely beautiful? Lin Mengran said, touching her cheek, let me tell you, I feel that my skin has improved. Early summer. Li Xinlai. No matter how amazing this water is, it won't be so effective, right? As the topic expanded to this point, the slight barriers between the two people disappeared a lot, and getting along with each other became much more natural. After hesitating, Li Xinlai decided to explain. Chu Xia, can I say a few words? You said it. Chu Xia smiled at her. If you think I'm angry, don't worry. I'm not angry with you. It's just that everyone has different ways of dealing with people. I won't find fault with you. I know you're not angry. Li Xinlai looked at her seriously, but I don't want to lose you as a friend. I know how you feel about me now. You are too cautious. You want to please everyone and don't want to offend anyone. I don't like me like this. Actually, I am not like this. After a pause, she continued, our family's conditions are very average, and I have not been favored by my mother since I was a child, so I have quite low self-esteem. In the entire community, there were only 2 or 3 people I hung out with, and they were all very introverted. Later, after I went to school, most of the girls I dated were girls from poor families. When I saw Sister Fenying and Sister Gaikan, I suddenly felt confident. It wasn't that I looked down on them, it was because the friends I had dated before were like them. I didn't want to become a loner in the dormitory in the future, so I wanted to. There are more. After Sister Jing's marriage was settled, there was a lot of rumors in our place that she was very lucky to be the daughter-in-law of a wealthy family. It was because of this that my sister deliberately got close to Fang Jingguan. I couldn't stand the way my mother and sister did things, and I knew Sister Jing's attitude towards this matter, so I never thought that Sister Jing's would help me. You also knew that day. At the beginning, I mistakenly thought that Sister Jing's wanted to use me to please the Lin family. Therefore, I was very clear about where I placed myself at that time. Later I found out that I had misunderstood Sister Jing's, and I felt very guilty. At the same time, I was also very grateful to her. It was so comfortable to get along with you, so I was very lucky. However, since I was a child, I have never had friends with a family like yours, so I inevitably feel a little constrained and don't know how to behave. In fact, I am the most real me when I am with Sister Fenying and Sister Gaikan. In my heart, there is a feeling that we are the same people. I don't think I will take advantage of them, so I can be calm. Li Xinlai scratched her head in confusion. The more I explain, the more confused I become. I mean, I value you as a friend, but... I understand. Chu Xia interrupted her, sighed softly, and said, because you are worried that you will owe me too much, so you can't be so calm when getting along with me, right? Yes. Li Xinlai drooped her head, but I am particularly afraid of losing you as a friend. I am not worried about losing help, but I really want to be friends with you. Chu Xia chuckled, you really want to be friends with me, and you still have the word you. I. Li Xinlai's face turned red. I know my performance has disappointed you. I don't know if you are still willing to be friends with me. If you were with me, you wouldn't get any glory, and you would always have to help me. Would you like that? Chu Xia stared at her. Think carefully before answering. I don't like to be lied to. Don't think about it, I'm definitely willing. Li Xinlai looked at Chu Xia seriously. I never wanted to take advantage of it from the beginning, but knowing your background, I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. If I didn't have to take advantage of it, I would be very, very happy to be able to help you. You. Chu Xia sighed and looked at Lin Mengran. Do you think she is confused or not? At this moment, Lin Mengran also understood and smiled. It's understandable. This just shows that she is a girl with a bottom line and a conscience. Then she stretched out her hand to the other party. From now on, I recognize you. Come, shake hands. Domineering, bold, and with a hint of cuteness, this is the real Lin Mengran. Seeing the return of Miss Lin, the corners of Chu Xia's lips curled up unconsciously. She still prefers such a little chivalrous girl. Li Xinlai felt much more relaxed after she said everything in her heart. After shaking Lin Mengran's hand, she took the initiative to hold Chu Xia's hand. I promise that I will try my best not to feel inferior. What is there to feel inferior to? Josei laughed. My family background is not good, but I have never felt inferior. Besides, you are so beautiful and kind. From now on, you will only be proud, so there is no need to feel inferior. Yes, if you have low self-esteem, then I will have even more low self-esteem. Lin Mengran stretched out his hand to show the height difference between himself and the two of them. God is so unfair. I have been practicing since I was a child. How can I be better than you? They're both short. Ours. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 794. Chapter 767. Speaking of height, Li Xinlai said with emotion, in our family, my father is 1.66 meters tall, my mother is 1.53 meters tall, and my sister is 1.57 meters tall. But I actually grew to 1.68 meters tall, so there is a long gap over time. I decided that I was not my parents' biological child, but it turned out that I thought too much. Are you deliberately angry with me? Lin Mengran glared at Li Xinlai hatefully. I tell you, I am exactly the opposite of you. My dad is 1.86 meters tall, my mom is 1.71 meters tall, my sister is 1.7 meters tall, my brother is 1.88 meters tall, and I. She sighed heavily, stretched out her fingers and gestured, 1.62 meters is so much more. A little bit, not even 1.63 meters. People say that if you are too narrow-minded, you will easily fall short. Josei looked at Lin Mengran. Am I wrong all along? In fact, you are hiding it. I hope, Lin Mengran suddenly stared ahead in surprise. I didn't hear my grandpa say that. Why is he here too? Who? Josei asked casually. Following her line of sight, she saw two men about 1.8 meters tall walking over, each holding two large bags in his hands. Xiao ran. The man on the left was obviously stunned when he saw Lin Mengran. Then he greeted with a smile and walked over faster, and the other man quickly caught up. Brother Qian, have you also been admitted to college? His. Josei secretly took a breath. Miss, just say hello when you say hello. Why are you grabbing my hand and pulling it so hard? It's not my own body that can't hurt, right? Bang Li pulled out but couldn't pull it out. Josei pinched back bitterly. Unfortunately, the other party didn't react at all. Obviously, his thoughts were all on the handsome guy opposite. Yeah, I took the exam here too. The man known as Brother Qian responded to Lin Mengran, then turned to Josei and Li Xinlai and smiled, hello everyone. Lin Mengran introduced, this is Lin Chuxia, and this is Li Xinlai, they are both my good friends. Then he turned to look at Chuxia and Li Xinlai, this is Zhou Qian, the elders of the two families get along very well. We are almost like brothers and sisters. Josei has a dark streak. Is it necessary to be so excited when brothers and sisters meet? Her hands are going to be pinched blue, okay. People who practice martial arts, do you know the endurance of ordinary people? At this moment, her eyes were red with pain and tears were streaming down her face. Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? The man following Zhou Qian noticed something strange in Josei and asked with concern, looking at you, you seem to be in pain. This is my good friend Ouyi, Zhou Qian quickly introduced. It hurts, but she couldn't lose the face of her good sisters. Josei pretended to be relaxed, I'm not uncomfortable, it's just, I was a little excited when I saw Mengran meet an acquaintance. Lin Mengran glanced at Josei strangely, with a puzzled look on her face. These sisters don't seem to be such emotional people, right? Why is she excited when she meets an acquaintance? Following the other person's gaze to her hand, her consciousness returned in an instant and she discovered what the problem was. She quickly let go of the other person. Looking at the green fingerprints on the white and tender paws, She scratched her head in annoyance. Chusia, sorry. Unexpectedly, this eldest lady would say it outright in front of everyone. Chusia was stunned and said quickly, what nonsense are you talking about? How can I be so narrow-minded? I won't be jealous when you fellow villagers meet fellow villagers. No need to cover up for me. Linmengran forcibly took Chusia's hand and showed it to everyone. I just unconsciously pinched her hand blue, and this guy actually suppressed his silence. Haha. Apart from laughing, Chusia didn't know how to express herself. She was not stupid. One look at Linmengran's face and she knew that she must have a crush on the man named Zochian. As for why she was so excited, there could be many reasons. Explanation, but no matter what, girls love face, so she thought of covering up for the other party. Unexpectedly, Miss Lin's brain circuit was different from hers, and she went off to another side. Chusia, thank you for always thinking about me. Linmengran smiled bitterly and said, I think you should have guessed from my gaffe that I like Brother Qian. In fact, this is indeed the case, and I also confessed my love to him, but he was rejected. I have long lost my image in front of him. There is no need for you to take the blame and cover it up for me. Besides, I was a little excited when I first saw him. In fact, I didn't have any thoughts about him. We had already let's talk. Xiaoran, you are still such a straightforward person. Zochian smiled and touched her head, then looked at the others. Indeed, Xiaoran and I have made it clear a long time ago that I will treat her as my younger sister in this life. No matter what happens to her, I will help her. By the way, this is Ouyi. He pointed at the ignored man. He is my best friend. You've just introduced me. Ouyi smiled at a few people. Nice to meet you, Linmengran. I've heard of you a long time ago. Lin Chuxia, Li Xinlai, hello. Hello, the three of them replied almost at the same time. Brother Qian, you go and report. We have something to do, so we'll leave first. Linmengran waved his hands to the two of them, pulling Chuxia and Li Xinlai away quickly. It felt like running away. Slow down, he didn't catch up. Chuxia pulled her funny. If Zhou Mikang sees you dragging me away like this, I can guarantee that he will stipulate that I stay 8 feet away from you in the future. I'm sorry, I forgot. Linmengran apologized repeatedly. No wonder everyone doesn't like me. I'm really too cruel. If someone like me becomes the head of the family, how will everyone live? You can't say that. People grow up little by little. Like me, I was very ignorant before. Although I am not very sensible now, compared to before, we are really two people. While Chuxia used herself as an example to comfort Linmengran, she secretly despised herself. It was obvious that she was a different person, and what she said seemed to be true. However, compared to her original self, she was really much more sensible now. In fact, sometimes, suffering is the best teacher, which can make a person grow up at the fastest speed. If it hadn't been for what happened to Chu Xiaojing, Linmengran would not have the consciousness to change. How ignorant were you before? Linmengran looked at Chu Xia curiously. I have felt that you are different from others since I first met you. At that time, I knew that you were from the countryside and that your family's conditions were not good, but you didn't have the anxiety that other rural girls did, that is, the anxiety of arriving in a place you didn't understand at all. I'm not looking down on people from rural areas, I'm just talking about things. Because of the restrictions of my living environment since childhood, I would definitely feel a little unsure at first glance. But you really don't have any. I have paid attention to you. This is also the fundamental reason why I was willing to take action when you and Mengmeng and the others bullied you. Therefore, I really can't imagine that you were once ignorant. I, too, suddenly figured out a lot of things. Chu Xia gave a simple explanation of Chu Xia's behavior in the past and her thoughts that she gradually figured out. They were roughly consistent. However, the reason for the body change could not be explained. She changed the situation of being forced into marriage that led Zhao Yulan to ask for help and being bullied into the reason that prompted her to change. I didn't expect you to be so domineering before, but Chu Xia, you are so lucky to have such open-minded parents. In our family, my parents are not that tolerant towards the three of us. Lin Mengran looked envious. Looking at her, no wonder you have such a good character and have such tolerant parents. You must be influenced by them. Chu Xia would not shy away from praising her parents. Thank you for the compliment. When I was young, I always played behind brother Qian, just like his little tail. Lin Mengran sighed quietly, and continued on her own. I always thought that he was so patient with me, also liked me, so when I was 16 years old, I took the initiative to confess to him. As a result, sighing again, Lin Mengran said with a bitter smile, I am too passionate. He told me that he treated me as his little sister and told me not to think too much. He also said that when I grow up, I will understand. That is true love. I thought he really thought I was young, so he looked forward to growing up. A year later, I found out that what he really liked was my sister, but my sister didn't like him, but she didn't reject him. My sister even told me that she knew I liked Zhou Qian, and if I was willing to tell my elders to give up the fight for the power of the head of the family, she would give Zhou Qian to me. I was very angry, so I told Zhou Qian what my sister said. Unfortunately, this didn't change anything. Everything was still the same as before. I went to the women's medical team. I was hesitant at first. It was just to avoid him that I made up my mind. Determined. Everyone in my family knew that he was admitted to the medical university this time, but no one told me that he had also been admitted, so I was surprised when I first met him. Moreover, I always thought that I had put him down, but when I really saw him, I found that he was still in my heart. I was very excited to see him, and it made me heartbroken to think that he liked my sister. So. She looked at Chu Xia apologetically, I hurt your hand. I'm really sorry. You should laugh at me. I'm really too cowardly. What a bloody plot. Chu Xia muttered in a low voice and smiled at Lin Mengran, no need to be embarrassed or explain, we are about the same age, I can understand your mood. Really, Lin Mengran stared at Chu Xia in disbelief, don't you think I'm a coward? What's so cowardly about this? I've been attached to my brother since I was a child. You may not be able to tell the difference between family and love. However, if you really let go just because of a few words from the other person, you'd be so unloving, wouldn't you, ours? First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 795. First release of high-speed text. Domain name of this website. For synchronous reading on your mobile phone, please visit 2. Mengran, have you thought about how to face Zhou Qian next? After hesitating, Li Xinlai looked at Lin Mengran and asked. How to face it? After a long silence, Lin Mengran continued, just like we agreed, let's be brothers and sisters. In your state. Chu Xia curled her lips at her, I don't think we can become brother and sister in a short time. However, escaping is not an option. Face it calmly. One day you will figure out whether you are friends with him or not. Love, and I personally think that Ouyi is better than Zhou Qian, you can consider changing your eyes. Lin Mengran looked at her with a black eye, even if we can't be lovers, there's no need to be lovers with the people around him, right? That's so awkward. Okay, I just compared the two of them. You don't necessarily have to move your eyes to Ouyi, or you can also consider other outstanding men. Chu Xia said as she put her hand on her shoulder, look more, choose more, and find one that suits you. Look at you acting like this. Lin Mengran rolled her eyes at her and shook her head, Lin Chuxia, you have a very good personality and you are good looking, but you are really not good enough to make the teacher fascinated, right? The image you present is definitely not in line with my perception of a daughter-in-law from an aristocratic family. There's nothing we can do about it. Everyone has their own destiny. There's no point in envying him. Chusia raised her eyebrows proudly, but he chased me, and I was still reluctant. Linmengran smiled evilly. Dare you say that in front of Mr. Zhou? Of course. Chusia looked at her seriously. If you don't believe it, ask him face to face if I said this and see how he answers you. Spare me. Linmengran shrank unconsciously. If you give me the courage, I wouldn't dare to ask your master like this. I'm afraid he could kick me out. Well, I want to learn this from him. I was wrong, I was wrong. Linmengran quickly begged for mercy. If you really learn from him, you will probably be kicked out. So, if you still want to be friends with me, please forgive me once. Okay. Is this begging me or threatening me? Chusia snorted coldly. Why does it sound more and more like a threat to me? I am absolutely begging you. Linmengran teased and fell into silence mode. Li Xinlai. You should be able to hear it. I used a begging tone, right? Li Xinlai rubbed her head in embarrassment. Are you making things difficult for me? Did you hear that? Xinlai also said that you threatened me. Of course she is facing you. Linmengran lowered her head. We will leave school soon. If you insist on saying this, I will go back. Okay, Daodu, you really started to show off. Chusia grabbed her arm. Look at you, you are so arrogant. A few people here chatted and laughed and left the school gate. Over there, Zouqian and Ouyuyi also got the dormitory keys. The two of them were in the same dormitory. On the way there, Zouqian remained silent. Ouyuyi sighed helplessly. Who are you showing this half-dead look to? Other than showing it to you, who else can I show it to? Zouqian sighed. You. It really hurts my back to stand and talk. I feel uncomfortable. Can't you be more considerate? Why do you feel uncomfortable? Ouyuyi stared at him. Why do you have the right to feel uncomfortable? Where do you stand? The little sister you have grown up with since childhood suddenly becomes a stranger. Why do you think I feel uncomfortable? Zouqian sighed again. Ouyuyi. I told you not to scold me. In the past, I really always felt that Xiaoran, that's my sister. My feelings for her are so pure that they couldn't be more pure. But ever since she confessed to me, my inner feelings have changed, but I dare not admit it or tell anyone. I always thought I like Xiaoye, but after a pause, he couldn't help but sigh a few more times, but I now find that I don't understand her at all. What do you want to express? Ouyuyi looked at him speechlessly. Don't tell me that you now want to be good with Linmengran. You have to understand that Linmenjai and Linmengran are biological sisters, and they are not even close to each other. If one of them hesitates, you may not be able to bear the consequences. I've always heard you talk about Linmengran in the past. In your description, she is a straightforward, lively, and unscheming girl. To be honest, I am skeptical. But after seeing it today, I must admit that your review of her is very objective. At the same time, I have also met Linmenjai, and she and Linmengran have completely different personalities. When you first meet her, you will think that Linmenjai is a gentle woman, but after just saying a few words to her, your impression will completely change. To put it bluntly, I feel that Linmengran is the same on the outside, but Linmenjai feels like he is absolutely scheming. Of course, this is just my personal feeling. Whether you agree or not is up to you. We have been friends for many years, and I think I should tell you what I see. I would also like to advise you to think about what you want to be and which one to choose earlier. There will be competition between them later, and you must decide in advance who you want to be. Zouqian shook his head. No matter what happens in the future, I won't help either of them. Also, I should have more sympathy for Xiaoran. Seeing that she only has 1 or 2 playmates around her, seeing her at home being ostracized, I couldn't help but feel pity for her. Just like when she was a child, I always liked to take her to play. In fact, Xiaoya hated me taking Xiaoran with me, but every time I saw Xiaoran's eager eyes, I couldn't bear to refuse her. Even though I like Xiao so much, I still can't ignore Xiaoran for her sake. Hey! He sighed and waved his arms in frustration. I don't know what to say, forget it, I don't want to anymore. Can you tell me the real reason why you suddenly decided to apply for the medical university? Yi looked at him seriously. When I first asked you to be together, you refused, but then you suddenly changed your mind. Don't use your reasons to excuse me. I don't believe it. Zhou Qian's reason was that he wanted to accompany Yi to escape and help Xiaoya. Zhou Qian looked at him calmly. Xiaoya asked me to convince my parents to support her in becoming the head of the Lin family, but I refused. I can't escape anywhere, but I have to escape here. I expressed my attitude to Xiaoya. They are sisters and should not be incompatible. I will not help her and I will not allow her to harm her sister. Otherwise, she will definitely regret it in the future. Yi stroked his forehead. I believe that Lin Menjai's current thinking is that you have fallen in love with her sister, so refusing to help her and come to the medical university is your attitude. She. Zhou Qian stared at Yi with his mouth shut. Are you sure she would think so? Yi spread his hands. I'm not her, I'm not completely sure, but I think my guess is pretty close. Xiaomin wants to kill me. Zhou Qian looked annoyed. Xiaomin came up with this idea for me. She said that if I choose to go to college with Xiaoran, it can not only ease the relationship between Xiaoran and I, but also improve my relationship with Xiaoran. Let Xiao understand my good intentions. I was doubtful at the time, but she said it was clear and logical, so I believed her. Hey! Yi looked at this man who had known him for a short time, but couldn't be more loyal to him, with a sympathetic look on his face. He must feel uncomfortable being plotted by his sister, right? Xiaomin has always disliked Xiaoya. How come I forgot about it? Zhou Qian sighed repeatedly. Forget it, it's already like this. I can't go back on my word, just take it one step at a time. That's good. You can sort out your feelings. To be honest, I don't like Lin Menjai either. If you have to choose one of the sisters to be your wife, I suggest Lin Mengran. Yi stepped up. It's more important to settle down and take care of lunch first. No, take your time later. This is the only way. Zhuoqi Anjia caught up with him, feeling full of annoyance. He always knew very well, so why did he become so confused when it came to the matter of the 2 sisters? At this moment, there was only one person who didn't feel pain in her heart, and that was Lin Menjai. She never expected that Zhou Qian would actually go to the medical university to register. Although she had no intention of marrying Zhou Qian, she had always held the man in her heart high. It really hurt her heart to not compromise on this kind of thing. Listening to the sound of broken glass coming from time to time in the house, the 2 servants outside looked at each other with helplessness in their eyes. The eldest lady hid in the house every day and lost her temper. Outsiders thought they were too comfortable here. Alas! Grandma, I'm going to the medical university. Ah, old Mrs. Lin looked at her eldest granddaughter who she loved so much, with a puzzled look on her face. Are you going to see your sister or what? I also want to attend medical university. Lin Menjai stared at Mrs. Lin and said word by word. Why? Old Mrs. Lin's expression calmed down. Although she loved her eldest granddaughter, she would not allow her to behave like this in front of her. Otherwise, she would love her younger granddaughter. Grandma, I'm worried about Xiaoran. Lin Menjai looked at the old lady seriously. Xiaojing passed away suddenly, and Xiaoran hasn't gotten used to it yet, so I'm really worried about going to live so far away by myself. Yes, I haven't gotten along with her since I was a child. I don't like her reckless and impulsive temperament. I even always give her a bad face and always scold her, but that's not because I hate her, but because I'm worried. I know that many people think that I treat Xiaoran badly because she is my only competitor. I don't want to explain. I just think that one day everyone will understand. I yelled at her because I hate iron but cannot make steel. Now, when she is in a bad mood, I want to be with her and accompany her through this difficulty. Grandma, please promise me, I know you have this power. First release of high-speed text. Domain name of this website. For synchronous reading on your mobile phone, please visit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 796. Thank you for sending mooncakes to my dear friends. After sitting around for a while after lunch, Lin Mengran and Li Xinlai went back to school first. They both lived on campus, and everyone in the dormitory hadn't arrived yet, so it was necessary to go back and keep an eye on them. Although it is said that one should not think the worst of people, if something happens and everyone is in trouble, it is better to be more careful from the beginning. After taking a nap, Zhao Yulan made fruit tea, and everyone gathered around to drink tea and chat. Chu Xia hesitated and looked at Mr. Wan. Grandpa, is Ms. Yin still at her parents' home? Well, I'm still living at my parents' house. I'm planning to discuss it with you. She has some experience in taking care of pregnant women. How about letting her come over to help? He added as if he was afraid that everyone would misunderstand that this was a mandatory decision. If Xiaoqin is experienced in this area, let her stay in City A. It just so happens that the house there is unattended. Of course Zhao Yulan and Lin Bao he hoped that Sister Yin would come over, but all this was arranged by the Zhou family. The couple looked at each other without saying a word. Father, Mother, I force you again. This is the home of your two elders. There is a place where Chuxia and I are, and both of you can make the decision. Zhou Mikang turned to look at Mr. Wan. Grandpa Wan, although you are Chuxia godfather, but in her heart, you are her biological grandfather. Therefore, whether you want sister-in-law Yin to come over mainly depends on your wishes. You should understand what I mean. I hope that what you make is a decision from the bottom of your heart. Chu Xia looked at Zhou Mikang in confusion. Who do you want to make the decision? Why are you so stupid? Zhou Mikang glared at her. This is your grandpa. You live with grandpa and your parents. Who do you think should make the decision? Who should make the decision? Chu Xia repeated reflexively. Suddenly, yes, this is the home of grandpa and parents, of course they can make the decision. But grandpa still has the final say in this matter. She looked at Mr. Wan. Grandpa, my thoughts are the same as Zhou Mikang's. Because there were rumors in the compound that Mr. Wan and Ms. Yin were going to live together, and Mr. Wan also had this idea at that time. But there was no news after that, so she was not sure what the old man was thinking now. Then let her come over. Seeing that everyone was a little worried about this topic, Mr. Wan sighed. There is nothing that cannot be said between Xiao Yin and I. You all also know. Originally, I planned to live with her. I am not young anymore, and she is not young either. Her parents were very happy when they took advantage of her, but will they treat her well in the future? There's really no way to tell. Of course, with me, it is unknown whether I can take care of her until she grows old. After all, I am several years older than her, which was something I was worried about originally. But then I thought about it, there are no young or old on the road to Huanquan, and they are always afraid of wolves in front of them and tigers in back, so everything will be delayed. So, I talked to her at that time, and after thinking about it, she agreed to my proposal. To be honest, there would be less gossip. Unexpectedly, her mother-in-law's family came before this matter was put on the agenda. You were all busy at that time, so you didn't go there often, and I didn't tell you some things. Her eldest brother, sister-in-law, younger brother, daughter-in-law, nephews and nieces all lived there in the past. It was because I got the letter from her that she wanted to marry me, and she planned to live with us in the future. Moreover, what they meant was that at such an old age, I wanted to be with Xiao Yin. I am taking advantage. I should take care of Xiao Yin from now on, not her. They hope that I will hand over all the family property to Xiao Yin, and then adjust the work of her elder brother, sister-in-law, younger siblings, and arrange the work of my nieces and nephews. They also made a request that I really couldn't accept, asking me to inform the organization in advance that if I left early, Xiao Yin would still have to live in the house. When they made these requests, Xiao Yin kept trying to stop them, but it was of no use. In their eyes, they were family members, so it was natural for them to do so. In the end, Xiao Yin's parents were saved. He said that the old man and the old lady were not in good health and were unwilling to move, so they were asked to be plenipotentiary. If they didn't do it well, it would be unfilial. As soon as this big hat was pressed, I really had nothing to say. I had no choice but to ask Xiaoyin to stop marrying me. She would still be my nanny. Whenever the organization changed her job, she would follow the organization's arrangements. Angry that her elder brother, sister-in-law, and younger siblings didn't believe her, she called Director Su, who arranged for her to come over in front of them. Then, after some hard talking, her eldest brother, sister-in-law, younger brothers and sisters returned to their home with their nephews and nieces. Why should I follow you to the ancestral home of the Zhou family? I was just afraid of them, so I went there as soon as I had nothing to do, and on the pretext of visiting Xiao Yin, I persuaded us to get together in front of me. How embarrassing do you think it was? If we don't move, Xiao Yin really doesn't plan to work at my place anymore and goes to your house. No matter how bold they are, they won't dare to force their way into Zhou's house. It was really difficult for her to stay with her parents for such a long time this time. Her parents are old and can't be the masters of their son. They couldn't protect her even if they wanted to. Although she didn't say anything, I knew it after thinking about it. She must be having a hard time at her parents' house day in and day out. Therefore, even if I don't ask in early summer today, I still have to discuss this matter. I can't let her stay at her parents' house anymore. I will either change her job or give her a place to stay. If I don't care about it anymore, it would be too much. It's not authentic anymore. Grandpa, why didn't you tell me earlier that we could take Sister Yin with us when we came? Chu Xia looked at Mr. Wan angrily. You still don't treat us as a family. No, I was so anxious at the time that I forgot about it. Mr. Wan sighed. I have never done anything bad in my life, so why am I living so uneasily? Aunt Wan is still complaining that you didn't help, right? Wang Zhongliang and Qin Yingfen went to the market, and there were no outsiders at home, so Chu Xia asked truthfully. Anyway, this matter would have to be discussed sooner or later, so why not take advantage of Zhou Mikang's presence here? Let's talk about it, so that the old man won't feel uncomfortable holding it back. Yes, I originally planned to stay at Long's home until the 10th day of the lunar month and then go back. As a result, she came over with Xiao Yan and definitely asked me to stay at home for a few days. For many years, I have been hoping that my daughter would really treat me as her father. Therefore, seeing her sincere words, even though I knew in my heart that it might be an appearance, I still chose to believe it. She and Qian Yubing did well in the first 2 days. They called me daddy easily, and Xiao Yan was older than her grandfather. I was really happy, and I felt that God was wise, and the dirt was buried up to my neck. At that time, I finally got my wish and could share a family relationship with my biological daughter and her family. On the 15th day of the first lunar month, Qian Yubing's parents also went, and the whole family got together. This was the first time. After a pause, Wan Lao smiled bitterly, probably, this is also the last time. Halfway through the meal, Wan Yuqian began to cry. Qian Yubing coaxed her, saying that it was a happy reunion day, so why should she be sad? Qian Hungman and his wife also sighed and persuaded her. Wan Yuqian cried while telling about the suffering she had suffered since she was a child. She said that it was not until she married into the Qian family that she truly knew what family was and what happiness was. She said it was okay for her to suffer a little, but she just didn't want her children to suffer too. Next, the whole family sighed one after another. Qian Hungman complained that he had gone the wrong way and harmed his son while drinking. Qian Yubing complained that he was incompetent. Qian Yan and Qian Gang looked at all the elders crying and sighing, then they knelt down beside me and begged me to help their family and save their family. After another heavy sigh, Mr. Wang continued, in that scene, in anyone's eyes, I, an old man, was hard-hearted and heartless. But, is this something I can get involved with? This is not children's play. Even if she is my biological daughter, even if I really feel I owe her and really feel sorry for her, I can't embarrass my old friend. My old friend is a grateful person, but I can't take advantage of him just because he values friendship. In that case, am I still a human being? Of course, I believe that as long as I bring it up, he will definitely help, but what if the help is finished? This is a major matter involving the development of the country. Not to mention that their lives are not as good as before, even if their lives are about to be lost, I will not come forward. If you do something wrong, you have to bear it yourself. When you stand in line, you should think of this day. If you don't want to be a responsible person, don't do things you can't bear. I can't do this because of old friends. I'm not considering my own interests or worrying about what will happen to me in the future. I'm making a choice based on my conscience. We ended up having a bad time that night, and I wanted to leave the next day. Wan Yuqian cried and begged me to forgive me, saying that she just drank too much and said drunken things, saying that she really wanted to be with me. Living with father. After all, she looked really pitiful for her, so I stayed. I didn't have to help her, but I couldn't really leave her without caring about her. Speaking of which, my father is indeed incompetent, so I also hope that I can do my best to make up for her during my lifetime. Unfortunately, she will not understand my thoughts. She kept me at Jian's house just to make me compromise. Every day, she recalled the past with me, including how much her mother suffered and suffered, repeating it over and over again. If Xiaomi hadn't come to find her, I don't know how long I would have stayed there. As long as I told her to leave, she would burst into tears. As a father, I really can't be cruel. Seeing everyone looking at him in confusion, Zhou Mixang quickly said, I didn't use any coercive means. I just told her that Mr. Long asked me to pick up Wan Lao. How do you know Grandpa is unhappy there? Chu Xia stared at Zhou Mixang in confusion. It's hard for Grandpa to call you and complain to you when he's at Jian's house, right? First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 797. Please remember the website address of this site. Please recommend promotional introductions to your QQ group Weibo/WeChat forum post bar. The second update is here. Thank you, sir, it's very important for the reward. Zhou Mixang looked at his little wife with a dark look. Am I so stupid in your eyes? You still need Grandpa Wan to call me and complain to me to guess? Qian Yan and Qian Gang, who had been honest for a while, attended a gathering in the circle and said that Grandpa was responsible for everything. Thinking about Grandpa Wan's temper, they could only guess the same. Remember, in 1 second popular novels are updated the fastest. Chu Xia still looked puzzled. You can also have access to their circle. Grandpa Wan is here, can I not pay attention? Zhou Mixang sighed helplessly, Do you think I am so heartless that I don't care about anything when grandpa is gone? Are you kidding me for being so heartless? Jo Mikang. What does it mean to seek to inflict a crime? Why bother without words? This is. Zhao Yulan glared at her daughter. You kid, how can you talk? If Xiaomi can be a teacher at this age, she must think more about everything than you do, so don't always find fault. Chu Xia curled her lips reluctantly. He is indeed more thoughtful than me. He even coaxed his mother to turn to him. Dad is also facing him. Lin Bao he looked at his daughter with a smile. Silly girl, your parents are facing Xiaomi to explain that Xiaomi is really good to you. You should be happy. If you are still jealous here, you will be too soon. Now that I'm a mother, I'm not shy. Grandpa. Chu Xia looked at Mr. Wan pitifully. I have fallen out of favor. Ha ha ha. Mr. Wan laughed happily. Anyone in this family may fall out of favor, but you will not. Don't worry. Hey, the fact I saw is that Jo Mikang is more favored than me. After Chu Xia finished speaking, she raised her eyebrows at Jo Mikang proudly. However, you can't stay here often, so you will have to give up your seat to me soon, hee hee. Okay, I'll give you my seat. Jo Mikang patted her head lovingly. You must listen to your elders and never force yourself to do something beyond your ability. I will try to come over to see you every week, and you should stop running back and forth before 3 months. If I can't make it, I'll ask Mom and Grandma to come over and see you. Okay. Chu Xia didn't talk back to him about this matter. He complied obediently. I will arrange for someone to send Mrs. Yin over when I get back. Does Mr. Wan have anything special to say? Jo Mikang looked at Mr. Wan and asked. I'll write you a letter to bring to her. We still need to seek her opinion on this matter. We can't deprive others of their autonomy and just make decisions for them. Grandpa. Chu Xia looked at Mr. Wan with a gossipy face. In this case, do you still plan to marry Mrs. Yin? Mr. Wan sighed. Let's talk about it later. This is not something I can decide on my own. It was she who proposed not to get married, not me. Chu Xia also sighed. Sister-in-law Yin proposed not to get married. In addition to worrying about trouble in her family, she should also be worried that Aunt Wan would be unhappy. Grandfather. If you have feelings for Mrs. Yin, don't delay any longer. You have been thinking about pleasing your daughter all your life. In the end, she was injured, and so was she. Just to please her family, she ended up getting hurt. If you waste your time like this, you will definitely regret it. You're so young, you can talk all the time. Mr. Wan looked at her funny. I don't know how much experience you have. I have no experience, but I have experience in books. I have liked reading books since I was a child. You don't know that although talking on paper is a bit unrealistic, most of them are still on point, right? Chu Xia looked at Jo Mikang. Please agree. Jo Mikang nodded cooperatively. Yes. That's pretty much it. Chu Xia told him with a smile, then turned to look at Mr. Wan. I'm a junior and shouldn't mess around, but I really don't want to see you and Sister Yin making things difficult for you. You kid. Wan Lao looked helpless. You are doing this for our own good. I know, to be honest, your grandma Wan has been gone for so many years, and I have always been alone, so I don't feel bad about it. I thought about marrying Xiao Yin just to give her a future. If she stayed single like this all the time, she would always receive sarcastic comments and criticism from others when she returned to her parents' home. When you become a grandfather, you are still like you when you were young. You still talk about feelings and fall in love? The old man shook his head. Isn't that the same as the old lunatic? Chu Xia had a look of disapproval. Grandpa, you can't say that. Some people can still find love after they are over 80 years old. Xia. Zhao Yulan couldn't help hearing her daughter talking more and more mysteriously. Which book did you read this nonsense from? There is no love story between 82 and 28 yet. No matter what she says, it will not resonate. So she has no choice but to be vague. Mom, I also forgot about the book. Anyway, there is such a book, the story is still true. Uncle Juan, don't pay attention to this child. He likes to talk nonsense after he comes here. Zhao Yulan said and couldn't help but glare at her daughter again. The stories in the book are all made up, you can't believe it. Haha. Mr. Wan smiled and waved his hand. Yulan, don't scold Chu Xia. What she said makes sense. However, with a personality like mine, it is impossible to look for love at an early age. I said that I plan to be with Xiao Yin, mainly for her sake, hoping that one day when I leave, her life would be guaranteed. Back then, I found several staff members to take care of me, but they all rejected me. She was the only one who came here willingly. I remember this feeling. When she comes this time, I will mention it to her again to see what she means. If she is willing, we can have a lot of fun together as a family and get things done. If she doesn't want to, let's not mention it again in the future. I'll tell her privately, don't show it, so as not to make her uncomfortable. Uncle Juan, don't worry, we won't reveal anything. Yes, Uncle Juan, we understand this. Grandpa, this is right. The whole family rushed to make guarantees. Chu Xia looked at the silent Master Zhou and said, you haven't expressed your opinion yet. Come on, Grandpa wants everyone to express their opinion. Zhou Mikang rubbed her head and looked at Mr. Wan with a smile. The old man quickly waved his hand. Okay, with your temper, if you can worry about it, unless the sun comes out from the west. Throughout the afternoon, the whole family gathered together to chat. After Wang Zhongliang and Qin Yingfen came back, Zhao Yulan went to the kitchen to help, and Zhou Mikang pulled Chu Xiaolai over. You have only been sitting here this afternoon. Come on, go out and do some activities. Don't be lazy when I'm not around from now on. You think too much. Chu Xia interrupted him, I have to go to class. I walk around the campus every day. I can't be lazy even if I want to. That's right, Zhou Mixang smiled and said, ignore this matter. Chu Xia had a black line, why did you ignore me? Let's go walk around the campus. Teacher Tongzi took her hand, it's too cold outside. Is the temperature inside the campus the same as outside? Chu Xia stared at him speechlessly. From what you say, it's like the air conditioner is on campus. How can it be the same? Zhou Mikang dragged her hand towards the school gate. The wind is blowing outside, and the campus is blocked by a wall, so it will be warmer no matter what. Besides, I have to understand what you are studying. Place. Just go, why are you talking so much? Chu Xia rolled her eyes and followed him into the campus obediently. Then, she regretted that the division commander Tongzi was wearing a military uniform, it was too eye-catching. As soon as the two of them entered the school gate, they attracted a lot of eyes. She felt uncomfortable all over, but the teacher Tongzi had a calm face and pulled her forward with a sideways glance. Come back when you are wearing casual clothes. Okay, Chu Xia discussed in a low voice, this will attract too much attention. It will be difficult for others to recognize me in the future. Huh, Zhou Mikang tilted his head and looked at her, are you worried that others will see me with you? Ah, Chu Xia was stunned, with a look of confusion on her face, you did it on purpose. Yes, I did it on purpose to let everyone know that you have a master. Chu Xia had a black line, Master, is your brain made of tofu? Even if you don't lead me in to declare my autonomy, everyone will understand when my belly bulges, right? It's easy to misunderstand when you can't drum up. You don't believe me? No, I believe you very much, but it's better to do less than to do more. Well, she really lost to him. It was probably the first time that the teacher, Tongzi, could be jealous so confidently. Since he is so worried, then she should stop being pretentious and just watch and know each other. What's the big deal? Thinking this way, she no longer felt awkward and allowed her teacher's Wangzi to hold her hand and continue walking. Otherwise, let's go directly to Lin Mengran and the others. Maybe Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo are here too. Just to see if they have settled in, we can go back to our house for dinner together, okay? When he heard that she used the word our family, the teacher Tongzi, who was originally a little unhappy that his young wife did not cherish the time alone with him, immediately became elated and nodded immediately, complying with his young wife's wishes. The girls' dormitory was not convenient for men to enter, so Zhou Mikang waited downstairs. Chu Xia went up to room 206 on the second floor. Sure enough, both Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo arrived. Seeing the sudden appearance, they both looked happy. However, Lin Mengran moved faster than them and stepped forward to hold Chu Xia's hand. I still plan to wait. They've finished cleaning up and are looking for you together. Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo looked at the two of them in a daze, with puzzled expressions on their faces. When did the relationship between you two become so good, written in big characters clearly on their faces? What expressions do you two have? Lin Mengran rolled his eyes at them. Is it possible that in your hearts, Chu Xia and I can't be good friends? No, 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 Yang Xiaoli waved her hands repeatedly. It's so unexpected, mainly because I've never seen you be so close to anyone before, haha. To be continued. Domain name of this book, please tell each other to promote it. Thank you. Use the Ctrl+D shortcut key to bookmark it.